So not a Royal Rota in the strictest of senses, but Lizzie and I, we've been in Windsor. How long have we been in Windsor now?
This is day 9.
We think we're on day 9 because we, like a lot of other people, are on baby watch here. And it's fair to say there's a number of members of the media in Windsor at the moment.
Yeah, those 9 days it's got busier and busier since we've been here, and I think we all thought that we'd have a baby by now, and yet the wait continues.
No, so there's no baby and there's lots of media. So given that the Royal Rota is about interviewing other royal correspondents and there's lots of them here, we thought we'd do a slightly different take on the Royal Rota, which is to do it here, to go and find some of the people who, like us, are waiting. I don't know, just to see what...
we thought we'd all interview each other to give each other something to do.
Sometimes it gets to that sort of stage, but we just thought we'd just test the waters, see what everyone else is thinking, and also, I suppose, crucially, to see what they're thinking in other parts of the world, like in America and like in Australia as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everywhere we go, it's not just the British media here. We've seen the Americans, the Australians, the French. Italians.
Yep.
So the whole world is watching Windsor at the moment, waiting for
Let's go and do this.
Yep.
So, bit of excitement in Windsor. There's a police bike. Something might be happening. Let's go and have a look. I don't know what it is. There's another police bike. There's 3 police bikes. Stopping people. What are we about to see? We're about to see a coach. Look. There we go. A coach is going by. And you can see everyone in Windsor stopped because they wonder if it could be something important. I'll tell you what's happening in the cast in a minute. But anyway, you might as well come along with us, because right here, as we're here, is a gentleman you might have seen if you watched the Royal Rota from Cuba.
Max.
It's man from Cuba. Hello, how are you?
How are you? Oh, so
Max?
no preparation.
Hello.
Max Foster, CNN. This is CNN's base.
Well,
show us round.
We were formally upstairs, but the rooms are very booked up.
So when I saw you yesterday, you were up. Get the camera to swing round and point at the roof up there. I sort of saw you up at the roof yesterday, and now how do I put this politely? You've been dumped on the street corner.
I'm literally hanging around on street corners. But we were hoping this event might have happened by now, so we haven't prepared for this state. And everyone, pretty much everyone, is coming up to us asking us if the bells are because the baby's been born.
Do you know what just happened to me? Someone just came out to us, didn't they?
Yes, they said they'd seen a sign saying it's a girl. They were convinced it had been born.
I thought by doing this, I'd missed the announcements, and I had that small moment of like heartbeat. So your office is quite salubrious, really, isn't it?
Yes, so this is how we like to live.
By the cigarette butts.
We should point out Maud, who's been here for the longest of anyone.
Yep, Maud.
Maud.
Yes. She's busy doing her Instagram
I'm
story.
inviting you onto ITV.
How are you?
Hi,
Hello.
Maud, how are you?
Maud from
I'm
Voici.
Voici magazine.
Yep.
Now, I think you get the prize for being here the longest. Is that right?
Not sure it's a good point, but
Tell me how long you've been stalking the streets of Windsor.
stalking is quite a strong word. But I've been visiting for a long time now. I've been here in Windsor for about 2 weeks. I know, it's that bad. But we were absolutely convinced that since she announced the pregnancy on the 15th of October, it would be around 15th of April. Obviously, we were wrong.
So you've actually been here since the middle of April.
Yes, I am.
I am. We are now.
She's a genius. You should see her work. She's a genius at
Oh, I'm just
creating
trying,
stuff
you know,
and helping create atmosphere and positive
it's
atmosphere.
just, for us French people, since we don't have any royal family, we're very excited about yours.
Well, you did something quite dramatic to your royal family, didn't you, a few years ago?
I wasn't born, so it's not my fault, right? But still, what I mean is, we are enjoying all the little details, all the national excitation about those royal babies.
I'll tell you what you are an inspiration for anyone who's trying to populate their social media channels.
Am I?
Go and have a look at Voici on Instagram and
Instagram
follow
stories.
more stories. You go to
Genius.
Voici, if you don't know how you spell it, if you're not very good at French, VOICI.
That's it.
Voici
_
magazine.
MAG for magazine, because we're a print magazine. But I've been here to, I don't know, just relight the excitation. And the thing is, nothing is happening that much.
Well, is it,
So this is when you excel, Maud.
If nothing's on, I'm still
Maud's
here
there.
Hold on,
to,
my phone's
to
ringing.
pump
I'm
it
just
up.
checking it's not Buckingham Palace. No,
Oh.
it's not. It's
Just a friend?
somebody from
Yeah.
the office, and I'm going to.
Just tell them
turn
you'll
you
call
off
them
now.
back later.
Yeah,
So-
every time our phones go.
You know what? I've been taking my shower with the phone right in front of the
Oh,
window.
so
It's
unhealthy.
a refreshing thing on the phone, isn't it?
It's
Constantly
terrible.
refreshing.
It's a
It's
very
terrible.
weird
Connected to
kind
the
of
internet.
stress. It's not like rushing around stress. It's just this latent stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all know it's happening, There's no exclusive here,
No.
but
At
we
some
could
point.
easily be late.
Nobody wants to be the person that realises it 10 minutes after everybody else.
That's
do
it.
they?
That's
So-
it. When you get that tweet, that mail,
Max,
you'll be
cruise
like,
ships
wow.
on TV.
And actually, we're
Where
going
are you?
I don't want that call.
What were you just doing with the Evening Standards
Oh,
reporter?
we've all got alerts on our phones. So every time we get an email from Buckingham Palace, they do a mad dance. It's all right, it's not Buckingham Palace. And so I was helping.
That's the alarm sound.
I was helping the Evening Standards correspondent.
See, we've all got these alerts, so actually
alerts on.
when
Yes,
you get
we
an
do.
email from Buckingham Palace, whether it's a baby or no baby, or just to say
We'll
there's
still get
some
stressed.
event happening next March, all of our phones start sort of vibrating in our
Like
pockets.
warships are coming in.
Yes, exactly.
It's
So
going to be
there-
this massive rush down the street when we actually get it.
actually, there will be a collective vibrate when they send out the email, and everyone will think there's an earthquake in Windsor. So we're on the top floor of one of the hotels in Windsor, which is where the American broadcaster NBC is been basing itself. They've got a studio just up there. If you walk along and have a little look, you might see one of their correspondents, Keir Simmons, getting ready to go live for American breakfast shows. There we are.
Can I just ask, do you have the private eye?
He's waiting to go on air,
To refer to?
and that's the backdrop that they've got of Windsor Castle. Pretty impressive, don't you think? I think if I was watching this from America, I'd be quite impressed. So I think it's fair to say that the prize for the best view in town, the best studio spot, goes to this guy. This is Keir Simmons,
It's
NBC.
not me, actually, it's my bosses. It's my bosses.
You haven't paid for this yourself, then?
No. They don't pay me enough to pay for this.
Well, I have to say, we've just done CNN downstairs on the street corner. We spoke to Max. This is better, yeah?
I mean, this view
Yeah.
up here is amazing.
Yeah,
Really.
okay. Now you're making me happy. You
Yeah,
see,
no.
we like it when we beat CNN. We like it.
I mean, look, you can see St George's Chapel where Harry and Meghan got married. You can see the round tower with the sovereign's flag on top of it. Was obviously she's here today for that
Yeah.
big service in there.
Yeah.
It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah.
So tell me, are you doing
And
more?
even though we have this view,
Yeah.
we don't have a clue.
You don't have anything to say.
No idea.
Exactly.
No idea. Which puts a lot of pressure on
Yeah.
because we've spent all the money.
Yeah.
We want nothing to report on.
So it's a great view.
Yeah.
Great backdrop, good story, but
Yes.
actually no updates.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Right.
I mean, you know this. I'm the British guy who, you know, kind of broadcasts for the Americans for NBC, and America is absolutely infatuated with
Yeah, so I was
everything
going to ask
royal.
you, I mean, obviously we are really interested in this
Yeah.
because it's a royal baby, but the level of interest on your side of the Atlantic
Yeah.
must be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's massive, and you know, obviously, because anyway, America it loves royal stories anyway, and then add Meghan in, and I think one of the interesting things I think about the Harry and Meghan phenomenon is, you know, the way that it's brought people in who weren't interested in the past.
Yeah.
You know, I think particularly, for example, the African American community in America, not all of them obviously, but a whole bunch of folks have really got invested and said, well, you know, maybe this is a story that we can be interested in too, and it really can inspire us too.
It's interesting the point that Keir made about sort of making the royal family more relevant to different communities, because you remember that time we went to Brixton, wasn't it, when Meghan did her first meet there. We met people down there who were saying, you know what, I didn't give a damn about the royal family before. If the Queen came today, I wouldn't come to see the Queen, but because Meghan's
Meghan
here,
was
I
there.
came.
Yeah, and everywhere we go in Windsor, there's channels from right across the world that have come here to
Right.
find out about this baby. Even though we're still not going to see anything,
Right.
people are still interested. And care.
You're wearing a microphone.
I
Thank
am
goodness for
wearing a
that. For a
microphone.
moment,
Yeah,
for a while there, I was thinking, why is Chris hogging
This microphone is
hogging
just
the
for
microphone?
you. This microphone is just for you and me. We're sharing the microphone because she's the star of the show. She gets her own microphone.
I know
you
you're the
see,
star of the show, and I was thinking, but they're not going to hear you.
I'm
Yeah.
all good, thank
We
you.
can hear her, and also we need less microphones because me and you are shouting.
Yeah,
We
you
can
shout,
hear you today
we
all the
shout
time.
all the time. Yeah, I mean, actually,
Exactly.
sometimes I broadcast to America without a microphone, and they still hear me across the
Does it
pond.
carry over the wind? Just tell me what you told your colleagues on the Today Show just now about that private eye feature.
Yeah.
Basically, it's summed up with what's the point in royal correspondence?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
It's funny. I mean, you got to laugh.
Because
you
that's
know?
the question we're all getting at the moment. It is. So I'll practice it with you.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a boy or a girl?
We don't know.
When's the baby going to be
Is
due?
this the private eye cover? Yeah, yeah. We don't know.
So what are they going to call it?
We don't know.
Is it going to be a His or Her Royal Highness?
We don't know.
So what's the point of royal correspondent?
We know that. There is no point.
Just thought about what you could do up here while you're waiting. If you put a few tables and a few umbrellas and start serving food, you could actually make quite a bit of money up here.
Tea
It's
and
absolutely
scones.
beautiful. So
Tea
there we
and
are.
scones.
Lovely to see you. Thank you
See
so
my
much for
friend.
that. And
Thank you.
we'll leave you to this
Thank you.
stunning view
It's
up here. So as you can see up there on the second floor, you've got ABC, that's the Americans. On the floor below, you've got the European Broadcast Union set up. So there's plenty of interest, not just from America, of course, but also from all across Europe. Someone who does a lot of American television is Omid. You might have seen him when we did our Royal Rota. Where did we do our Royal Rota from?
We were in Morocco.
Morocco, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Morocco.
Yeah,
And you do a lot of that up there.
I'm loitering around on that balcony or somewhere in that
Loitering
room.
on a balcony.
Cleared out an entire hotel room, so it's just full of people on edge.
We've just been having a chat with the NBC News up on their beautiful roof. They've got an amazing view, just like you have. The interest on that side of the Atlantic is phenomenal, isn't
Well,
it?
we're at that point now where I think American viewers want an update every day, several times a
Okay,
day.
and have you got an update for them? No.
Today, it was more of a recap.
We're recapping on nothing
We're
now.
recapping what
Yeah.
we don't know
Yeah.
at this point. But listen, I think the story kind of keeps providing us with little tidbits. You know, we've had all the speculation about whether she's actually already given birth
You
and
know what?
so
This is
on.
the question
and-
I'm getting most often at the moment. I keep saying no. I put out on Twitter, she ain't born yet. Why didn't you just do it again? Born or not born?
Sources, aides, many promise and swear down the baby is not here.
Yeah, because obviously, say it had been, I say it's because you don't know whether it's a he or she, but there'll be a birth certificate, so at some point we'll have a legal document telling us exactly when he or she was born.
Yeah, we don't know whether there will be that traditional easel moment, but for example, if we get that, then on that we will know when the baby was born, so they're not going to be able to hide it. I think it didn't help when that op note came out the other day saying that the Duke of Sussex is going to go to the Netherlands next week for 2 days on the 8th and 9th of May. Everyone thought, well, there was a lot of speculation that if he's going to go to the Netherlands, then surely the baby has been born and they're at home having time together now. Otherwise, why on earth would he go abroad?
I mean, that operational note about the Netherlands next week really didn't help that rumour, did it? Obviously, everyone said, oh, of course he's born because he's off to Holland next week.
Well, I even stopped for a second myself and just questioned everything.
Well, we were with you when we got
Yeah,
on there, weren't we?
exactly.
And what did we all do? We went, did
We
they
went,
mean Duke
is
of
that the-
Sussex or Cambridge?
These dates can't be right. They must mean June or July.
Yeah.
Like,
And
this
we all
can't
looked at
be
one
next
another and
week.
thought, well,
Yeah.
why is he going to Holland?
I think if they could have had it totally their way, they just wouldn't have put that out. But obviously, it's an overseas trip. There's so much planning that goes into it. You can't just drop that on the day of. The fact that they didn't want it out there, or at least sources say that they were rather hesitant about putting it out, shows us that they're quite confident. I think that the baby will be arriving before then or around then.
You're making predictions. This is what we don't do. We don't make
Yes,
predictions.
okay.
The Netherlands, we know that one of the events, one of the days he's going to is the countdown for a year to go until the Invictus Games in The Hague
And that means a lot to him,
2020,
of
and that
course.
means
Yeah.
so much to Harry that he really would like to be there if he can, but obviously we'll have to see next week.
Exactly. And it's been in the diary since, before, I think around November was when I was first aware of it. At that point, they possibly didn't know the exact arrival date of this baby because these things can change the later you are in those stages.
See, I've been saying all along, I think that the due date, although they never told us, was last weekend, so we're probably on the 5 days over. You don't disagree with that
I'm with you
analysis
there,
either.
yeah.
So we are now, 5 days over. I suppose as a bunch of tourists were here just now, and they said to us, well, you won't have to wait that much longer because you must only have about 5 or 6 days to go, and then they'll have to medically intervene in any case. So it's going to come to an end.
I've been sort of frantically trying to check in with people or anyone that's had any contact with her or Meghan or so on. What I heard this morning is that she's comfortable, happy, and not worried. So
Comfortable, happy, not worried, and the medics won't be either. So,
Exactly.
so therefore, okay.
She's in the best possible care, isn't
Well,
she?
you know,
I mean,
that was-
she couldn't have
That was
better.
the most informative update I've had in a very long time. I would go and share that with America immediately because
Already
they've
have.
been waiting. But, Omid, thank you very much indeed. It's lovely to
Thank
see
you,
you.
Omid.
I just know lurking behind you here, actually, as we're talking international broadcasters. I mean, look, there's no, when we're talking about the other side of the world, no, I'm going to come and sit down. Lizzie, take a seat as well. Why don't, when we're talking about broadcasters from abroad, thanks, Omid.
Thank you, Omid.
You're from the other
Lizzie's
side
gonna
of the
sit
world, and you lot want to know about this, don't you?
All the way from Australia. I think we're more obsessed with the royal baby than practically the Americans, and definitely than
So this is Edwina and Jimmy. They're from Channel 7 Sunrise. There we go. Sunrise is their breakfast show.
The baby
Good Morning
announcement happened, didn't it, when we arrived in Australia for the tour? The very first thing that happened.
So we feel some
Australians,
ownership
yeah.
of this
Well, I said
baby.
at the time, I think you'll claim this baby as your own. This is like the Australian baby, isn't it?
I think we will, but it's such a different feel here in Windsor than when we were here for the royal wedding. It's kind of, I don't know, the Brits seem to be really underplaying this one, which makes it very hard to have anything to talk about.
When you see people, they go, well, what baby? Or,
Exactly right.
Even that corner over there for the wedding is traditionally where all the sort of fans gather, and that for the wedding, they were there camping, it was completely packed. And for this, there's a couple of them.
Unfortunately for us, we're on air very late at night, so we sort of...
Actually, Jimmy will know this, because poor old Jimmy, you have to... So what time do you do lives for your breakfast show?
We start at 8 p.m. and finish about midnight, 1 a.m. depending on the show.
It's pitch black here.
It's
then,
pitch
and
black.
you're
It's pitch
broadcasting
black.
to
Everyone's coming out of the
morning
pub.
tea.
Everyone's very jolly. Happy.
That must make it so easy when you're on the street.
Oh, it's very easy.
So
Yeah,
last
no, we
night
love
there
it.
was a streaker.
Yes.
We had a streaker last night, and then you just get every smart ass who walks past with their comments about Harry's down at the shops buying nappies or diapers. It was very funny. Good times though. It's nice to be here.
That's the nighttime breakfast show, and then they make you get up and do the nightly news.
No, willingly. Yes,
And
no.
that with your teeth
Yes,
gritted.
no. So that starts at 7 in the morning.
Right.
So,
So you've got how many correspondents here now?
two.
Two
Two,
correspondents.
yeah.
And one cameraman.
One
So
full-time
who's working
cameraman.
the hardest out of your team?
No, we all work
Definitely
equally hard.
not.
Definitely not me. Definitely not
And
me.
there's another
No.
correspondent on the way, so 3 correspondents
Yeah.
to 1 cameraman.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So we know who's going to be really tired.
We're very interested but very under-resourced.
There we go. Well, listen, we've just been told it's going to come to an end at some point, so this can't go on forever.
Well, can we interview you now then?
Of course.
Because we're all short of material.
And there is the flag of Her Majesty, the standard, the sovereign standard. It's someone who will know exactly what it is. Is a guy that we've just found who's come out of Windsor Castle, Dickie Arbiter, former press secretary to the Queen, with a very interesting little thing on his lapel here. Now tell me about this and why you were in there.
This is a Royal Victorian Order. It's a Lieutenant of the Royal Victorian Order. There are various levels of it.
So that's an LVO.
This is an LVO. It
Right.
starts up at the top of the GCVO.
Now, who got a GCVO just earlier
Duchess
this
of
week?
Cambridge.
Exactly.
Duchess of Cambridge got one.
Which is the way that the monarch honours those who have given her service.
She does indeed, and Harry got a KCVO last year.
Yes.
So
you were honoured. Tell me, you were honoured. You got your LVO when?
I got my LVO in '96. I had done by then 8 years service with the Queen, and it's kind of recognition for what you've done. I'd had spent my first 5 years looking after the Prince and Princess of Wales, so maybe I earned it.
Well, I think you probably did. And Lizzie, weren't we just the other day, we were just Googling when they announced that Kate was getting her GCVO, the Grand Dame...
Grand Cross
Dame of the Royal Victorian Order, that thing, which was set up by Queen Victoria in 1896 or something. Was that right?
That's right, in recognition of the staff, of loyal staff, and it was women were introduced to it in the mid-1930s. Up until then, it was just men only. And George VI had carried it on, and so has the Queen carried it on. So
they're given to you personally by the Queen, aren't they? For
it is
the
it is the one honour that is given personally by the Queen.
If you look over there, Jake, you'll see in the middle of the Heart and Garter Hotel are a few lights and things. Can you see that sort of TV studio? That's for ABC American television. We just saw where CNN were. Lots of media here. Now, as much as I'm sure they all came to see you with your LVO,
You're really here for a baby.
They're actually here for a baby. So what's your experience of what do we call this? The Great Kate Wait. This is the Meghan Sussex standby, whatever it is. I mean, did you do babies in your time when you were at the palace?
I did babies, but I mean, I did babies after I retired from the palace. I mean, it was a 6-week wait for George.
Yeah.
6 years ago, there was a wait for Charlotte. Not quite as long because it was sort of partially controlled, and then for Louis, nobody was allowed there outside the Lindo wing until the Duchess had actually gone into hospital.
That was the day we were like in on the Monday morning, baby at midday, and picture at 6 o'clock in
couple
the
of
evening.
minutes to 6. Yeah,
And
she
you
was
don't
out.
actually know whether the baby has arrived or not because they're keeping it to
Right.
themselves until they're ready to tell it. When William and Harry were born, they were 2 and 3 respectively in line to the throne, so it was expected. And Linda Wing is not traditional. Yes, Diana came out. Princess Royal started it off in 1997 with the birth of Peter Phillips, and then 81 was Zara Phillips. In between, Princess Michael of Kent and her 2 children. Otherwise, children have been born either with the Wessexes at Frimley Park Hospital or others at home.
Yeah,
Yes,
the Queen had hers all at home.
The Queen
So she
had her
could-
4 at home. The Queen was born at Clarence House and Princess Margaret born at Glamis Castle.
And Fergie was
At the Portland.
Portland,
yeah,
at the
with both
Portland,
girls.
yes.
So, yeah.
Both of
So all very
Fergie's
different.
girls
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
So Linda Wing is not traditional, and they're so far down the food chain that they want to do it their way.
And actually, but we can see, as we just explained, we said there's a lot of interest from all over the world. But thank you for sharing your insights into what happened inside St
Pleasure.
George's Chapel today. It was really good to see you. And congratulations, 20 years on for your LVO?
23 years on,
23
actually,
years
yes,
on.
yes.
Okay, thank you, Dickie.
Better late than never.
Really, really nice to see you. Thank you so much. They always say that the best place to find a journalist is in the pub. And guess who we found? Oh, the Carpenter's Arms, sat outside, having a chat. Actually, I'm going to have to lean over. Robert Jobson, Evening Standard. Do you mind if I plonk that there?
Yeah.
So
nudge back.
give us the exclusive. What's happening?
Well, she's having a baby at some stage, but nobody actually knows what's going on. The piece in the Private Eye, where it's referring to a journalist not having any idea of what's going on, I think that's what's really it's come to, with the palace giving us absolutely zero information. And I think even there's some disquiet even at the palace, where people have been on standby for many weeks on end, and they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the theme of today, is no one knows what's going on. It's been going on for about a week. Although you only turned up today. We've diligently been waiting here for the past 9 days. You rock up today. Is that a clue that it's going to happen today? Because you can sniff out a story.
Saturday, yeah. It'll be
Saturday.
You're going for tomorrow now?
Wow.
Right, so you...
And I'm here tonight as well.
There's the prediction from Robert Jobson that the baby's coming
Saturday,
tomorrow.
Saturday, there'll be a girl.
They would potentially argue that apart from, not having that moment of them coming out of the hospital, they're still going to tell us when she's in labour, they're still going to tell us when it's born, and we're still going to see the baby in a photo call moment. It will just happen a couple of days later. We're just not going to have her walking out having had the baby, that day or the day before.
It's all a bit hermetically sealed, isn't it? I mean, the actual press conferences are going to involve one PA reporter, one PA photographer and a cameraman. There's not going to be an awful lot of spontaneity or fun in that moment.
So what
and I think
you're
that's
saying is this feels a bit too
bland
controlled.
and bland.
It's more sterile, isn't it?
Shouldn't it be? I mean, it's
Not
a
really.
private
I mean,
moment
no,
for
because
families.
Harry's
Having a
the
baby.
second son of the future king. This child would have been, he's the grandchild of the future king, and Diana's would have been Diana's grandchild. I think they're just missing a chance. The royal
They're
family
missing an opportunity.
Yeah, the royal family only exists at the behest of Parliament and the people. And the fact is, we pay for everything that they actually do. I know that the Duchy of Cornwall is things that actually pays for Prince Charles' estate, but frankly, if there wasn't a royal family, that would be owned by the people. It would be owned by him. And so I think they're
What
missing
you're saying
a point.
is part of the deal is if you're in the royal
national
family,
celebration.
part of the deal is to
Well, you can't ask the people to go out, wave the Union Jacks at Jubilee down the Mall and cheer for the Queen and everyone on the balcony at a royal wedding if you're not going to play the game.